Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nהיה b'dboro. Chaim. Chaim. Oh, David's coffee. So we're learning the Mimer, the Hasidic discourse that Rebbe said in 1989. Aneich Hashem Elokecha. I am the Lord your God. Asher tzeitzcha me'eretz Mitzrayim, that has taken you out of Egypt. This is the first statement of the Ten Commandments. And the question that the Rebbeim ask, and for that matter, many great sages ask, is why is God introducing himself to the Jewish people as the one who took them out of Egypt when he's much more than that? He's the creator of heaven and earth. Much greater. Yes, there were great miracles that happened in Egypt, but there are miracles before, there are miracles afterwards. And after all, a miracle is only changing yesh mi-yesh, something from something. That water that naturally flows stood up as a wall, for example, but it was still, still water. As opposed to creation. Creation, God starts with no thing. And from no thing, because he ain't a thing, he creates something. Well, first of all, that's a much greater accomplishment. So this cup of coffee, Chaim, thank you, David. Is God's creation of something from nothing. It's much greater. And it's coming from Atzmus. It's coming from the core essence of God. Because only God could do, create something from no thing. All humanity came together, all the brains of humanity came together, we wouldn't be able to take from no thing and make something. I mean, some people can do that, they can make a big fuss about nothing. And that's not a virtue. And furthermore, to add to that, creation of something from nothing is b'chol rega v'rega, is every moment. God is recreating. It's not something that happened, but it's something that happened. And to add to that, it actually ties in with the giving of the Torah. The Torah, we shouldn't see it as old. We should see it as fresh, as if it was given today. And that's the blessing that we make. Noisein HaTorah, that God is the giver of the Torah, not gave the Torah. He gives in the present tense. Therefore, it should be in our eyes like new. It's fresh. Even when, I'm giving over yesterday's teachings, and, you could say, oh, okay, yeah, I learned that already. So the power that we're given in Torah is that we should be able to see the freshness in it all the time, even though we learned it. The newness. So likewise, and that is similar to the newness of God as creator, that God is bringing a renewal all the time into creation. So there's, that similarity there, and therefore it makes more sense, or at least the argument, the argument is that I am the Lord your God, creator of heaven and earth. To take the argument further, this power, that it should be in our eyes like it's new, it's fresh, the learning. It's not, something been there, done that, I know that, I've learned that. That's all past tense, right? No, I'm learning, meaning the same thing. Okay. Just like drinking the same coffee. And it is still, and it is fresh. This power was actually given him at Mount Sinai. And that is the preceding verse to the verse that we are concerned with. I'm the Lord your God that took you out of the land of Egypt. So the verse prefacing that is Vayidaber Elohim, and Elohim's God spoke all these things, Lamor, saying. He spoke saying. The redundancy throughout the entire Torah is to tell me that when God spoke saying, is that when he spoke it to Moshe, he spoke it to Moshe in order that Moshe should say it to the children of Israel, right? Give it over. But there's a problem over here to explain this verse in that manner. And the problem is very simple. We were all there. Physically, every Jew was there, and spiritually, all the souls of future generations, including converts, because they are Jewish, were there. So who's the lamor? Who are you saying it to? Everybody is there to be said it to. So what does it mean here in this instance? It means that here in Matan Torah was given the power lamor for who? For you and I. Lamor. For every person that was there, all the souls of the Jewish people were all there. That these things, as kol hadvarim ha'ela, all of these things, meaning the entire Torah, that we could learn it as we're learning now, right? We could learn it in what manner? Of lamor. In other words, that what I am saying, the things that I am saying, is God saying it right now. As God said it then. The difference then was we were only recipients. Now, lamor, when I say the words of Torah, like I'm saying now the words of the Rebbe's Maimer, which is Torah, right? I'm saying God's things, as he said it at Matan Torah. Very powerful. Therefore, our sages say, based on that idea, right, that as a result of that, just as back then, how was the experience? It was awesome, is like an understatement. It was like awesome. It was with tremble, with sweat. Guess what? Now too. Because God's saying to us now, in us learning, God is saying it to us right now, these things. So it should, just take a moment to think of that, to internalize that we are not learning something that is, said in 1989 on the eve of Shavuos by the Rebbe. He then said it, saying the words of Torah that God says. But now that when we are learning it, we are saying the words of God that God is saying now. So back then, our souls took flight. It was too awesome of an experience. Now, it's to be appreciated and to be experienced in the same way, in the awesomeness back then. Oh, l'chaim. L'chaim. Oh. We learn for refuah shlema for Irma, who comes to our classes, daughter of Sylvan, and also in the schos of Livsha's great-grandson is having a bris today in the land of Israel. I think he probably had it already. Or if not, it's having it soon. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. So, having that in mind, right, and understanding that idea, accordingly, it just emphasizes so much so the newness of Matan Torah, of the giving of the Torah, right? That it should be in our eyes what we're learning as being fresh and new, as it was given in, and as the Torah was given at Sinai, right? So, just showing further the reason why God is creator, who brings vitality every moment. So, likewise, the Torah that He is giving to us at Mount Sinai is also something that's every moment new vitality. So bringing how it's the parallel and to God as creator. And therefore, why does it say God as the one who took us out of Egypt? So in a partial answer, the Rebbe continues and says that it's known that a question in Torah is also Torah. In life, in the human condition, a question is only a means to an end. But you get the answer, right? But once you have the answer, then the question kind of falls away. Good question, and here's the answer. Now, sometimes you're left with only a question. You don't have an answer or a good answer. But in Torah, a question is also Torah. And not just Torah, it's the Torah of truth. In other words, it's not a question because of merely lack of understanding, right? Why do you have a question? Because you don't have an understanding of something. No, a question of Torah. Now, I don't mean my question and your question. A question that's in the Talmud, or a question that the Rebbe asks, right? That question of that sage is truth, right? There's a truth to it. In other words, a truth to not merely the question, the perspective that question brings. So here we have a question. Why doesn't the Torah begin, or the Ten Commandments, God introduced himself as I am the Lord your God who took you out, who is the creator of heaven and earth? Well, guess what? In truth, since it's a question, on some level, Torah begins that way. Right? So, I'm going to go through a little bit of a process here. Hold on. Hang on. Okay. In addition to the fact that the beginning of Chumash is Bereshit bara Elokim. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth, right? We're asking about the Ten Commandments, but the point is he's bringing out now that there's a truth in the fact of Torah that it does begin that way, right? Not only does the Torah, the written Torah, begin that way, but the Rambam, right? In Maimonides' teachings, in the Mishnah Torah that we learn every day, and we see the newness in it every day, begins that we need to know that there is a first cause, and that first cause brings into existence all that is existing. And there would not be any form of existence without that cause. So in addition to the fact that Mishnah Torah, it doesn't just explain in general as the written Torah, right? In the beginning, God created heaven and earth is a very general statement. But in Mishnah Torah, in the Rambam, brings out that all that is found is only found from the Amitis Hamatzui, from the true being. In other words, that creation is a power of the Yesh Amiti, the true thing, the real thing, meaning the essence of God. And therefore, the creation of every moment of that God is constantly creating the world, right? I was going through and explaining the Rambam according to Chassidus. Others might not learn it that way, right? But and therefore, he's continuing teaching the Rambam, the concept of God creating every moment, that it should not, now quoting from the Rambam, should not come up in your mind, in your consciousness, that God is not found because then no other thing could be in existence. In other words, not that God just created the world and now goes on its own accord, but that anything is found in now is only because God, the true being, is found within it, meaning constantly creating it. And as the Rambam says, that if that would not be there, meaning the true being of God, then everything would be null and void, no thing. Right? So interesting how he learns the Rambam, in the way Chassidus explains. And before Chassidus, the Rambam wasn't learned that way. You see, embedded in the words of the Rambam is, a deeper understanding of creation, something from nothing at every moment. That the something, the true something, is engaged in creation, right? And that comes from the real thing, meaning the core essence of God. So these two ideas of Chassidus, right? That creation is the power of Atzmos, right? In other words, power of Atmos, the essence of God, means that it's not a external power, right? Like my power to pick up the cup and to say l'chaim and have some coffee, David's coffee. L'chaim. Ah, it's not an essential power. It's not the essence of me. Yeah, it's my arm extending, right? So the power to do that, but the power to create something from nothing is a power of the core essence of God. Batzmus. And the second point, that this power of Atzmus, of the essence of God, is the power of creating something from nothing, is found within creation and every moment that is being recreated. So this is Hasidic idea, based on the Baal Shem Tov. The Alter Rebbe explains in the second part of Tanya, Shayichud, is Rambam explains that in halachic terminology. We just explained it, the underlying understanding of it in Chassidus. He did not explain in Hasidic terminology of something from nothing, of creating every single moment. He used the terminology of the amitis hamatzui, the real thing, right? And that anything that is a found thing in creation, or that is found within creation, is only found because the real thing is constantly there, is in it. And so in addition to all of what we just said, okay, actually we're going to stop here. Okay. So what we just showed is that in Chumash and in Rambam, it begins with God as creator, right? Showing that even the question we have, that we see that on some level, there is the idea of God as creator is the first introduction to him. Okay, but we will continue with that thought. Thank you for joining. It's Rosh Chodesh, a good Chodesh Tov. Davening is longer, so Chumash and Rashi will probably be only closer to 9. Okay, maybe a bit before, but closer to 9.